The night before the wedding, in a moment of carelessness, I broke my fiancé's jade pendant. The fortune-telling streamer, live on air, suddenly frowned, her face turning pale. Blood jade seals souls, reviving the dead. Your fiancé is not human. Run. Tomorrow, Lucius and I are getting married. After all the preparations were done, Lucius lay down on the bed and fell into a deep sleep. Feeling bored, I went to another room to scroll through some videos. Absent-mindedly, I stumbled upon a live fortune-telling stream. The streamer, Autumn, looked barely 18 or 19. A live fortune-telling stream? Interesting. What possessed me? I clicked to connect. Autumn asked what I wanted to know. Giggling, I said, "Tomorrow's my wedding day, I want to know about our fate as a couple." After telling her our birth dates, I unconsciously dropped Lucius's jade pendant. Unexpectedly, Autumn suddenly yelled, "What are you holding?" I was wearing headphones, so the sudden loud shout startled me. My hands trembled, and the jade pendant slipped from my grasp, falling to the floor and shattering into countless pieces. I immediately panicked. Lucius cherished this pendant immensely. If he found out I'd broken it, he might well kill me. I quickly bent down, intending to pick up the pieces, but Autumn yelled again, "Don't pick it up." I glared at Autumn furiously. "What are you doing? Fortune-telling is one thing, but yelling like that? Are you trying to scare ghosts? If you hadn't screamed out of nowhere, how could I have broken this pendant?" The netizens watching the live stream were also flooding the screen with comments. "Exactly, that scream just now made my heart leap. Is she crazy?" I nearly jumped out of my skin while lying down. My mom thought I passed the level 4 exam. You can tell just by looking that the jade was valuable. What now? The streamer definitely has to compensate, right? I also stared at Autumn, waiting for her explanation. Unexpectedly, Autumn suddenly let out a sarcastic chuckle. "Heh, that jade is indeed valuable. It contains the sealed souls of 4 people." As soon as she said this, the screen went completely silent for a moment. I was stunned. "What do you mean by that?" Autumn didn't answer my question but countered, "Has your boyfriend never allowed you to touch this pendant before?" I was a little surprised. "How did you know?" It was true. My boyfriend, Lucius, loved me very much. He would unconditionally grant me anything I wanted. The only exception was this jade pendant. He always wore it around his neck and never let me touch it, not even a little. Every time I asked him to take it off so I could look at it, he would come up with all sorts of excuses to refuse my request. Once, he even got angry, fiercely yelling at me, "This is my mother's relic. If you break it, can you even compensate me?" The Lucius I knew was always gentle with me. Even when he was upset, he never yelled at me so aggressively. I knew he truly cared about this jade, so I didn't press the issue. Today, he was dead drunk and fast asleep, oblivious to everything. In my boundless curiosity, I secretly took the pendant off to examine it for a while. But how could Autumn know this? Seeing my reaction, Autumn quietly asked, "Let me ask you, has your boyfriend ever had 4 family members die tragically?" Hearing Autumn's question, I was instantly covered in a cold sweat. Not only had Lucius had family members die tragically, but he had also become an orphan in an instant. On his 18th birthday, his parents and 2 older sisters died in an accidental fire. This was a painful matter and the most forbidden topic in Lucius's heart. Besides me, he had never spoken about it to anyone. But how could this streamer girl know? Could she really see something? I felt a chill run through my entire body. I subtly nodded and asked Autumn, "Yes, how do you know all this?" Autumn's expression turned serious. "The jade you were holding just now is a blood jade. It's not an earthly object at all, but a token from the underworld. A blood jade must be nourished with the blood of the closest kin, and then the souls of those who nurtured it are sealed within. The longer it's nourished with blood, the redder the blood jade becomes. The more souls sealed, the darker the impurities within the blood jade. When the number of sealed souls reaches 5, the holder can use it to bargain with the underworld. The pendant you held was fiery red, and the impurities had already formed threads. I saw at a glance that 4 souls were sealed inside. Earlier, I calculated the birth chart you provided for your boyfriend, Lucius. He died 5 years ago. In other words, he was never human to begin with. 5 years ago, that was the year Lucius turned 18. As soon as Autumn uttered these words, the comment section exploded. "Not human? Oh my God, that's terrifying. Is her fiancé a ghost? My goodness, I'm scared to death. If he's a ghost, why hasn't he harmed this girl's life? What are his intentions?" My head buzzed as if I'd gone mad. I had never imagined something like this could happen. Looking at the exploding comments on the screen, a flicker of doubt sparked in my heart. If Lucius really was a ghost, then why was he marrying me? Autumn also saw the comments and frowned. Have you ever seen your boyfriend secretly hide your blood? I froze. Blood? No, I haven't donated blood recently. Autumn's expression darkened. She pondered for a moment, then said, What about your menstrual period? Have you ever noticed his actions then? Hearing this, the hairs on my arms stood on end. I had indeed noticed my used sanitary pads suddenly disappearing. During my last period, I was in a hurry to go out, so I casually threw a used pad into the trash can in the bedroom. But when I came home from work, preparing to clean up and take out the trash, the pad was nowhere to be found. I even asked Lucius about it, and he said he had already taken out the trash. But usually, the bin was overflowing with garbage, and I had never seen him proactively take out the trash before. Now, hearing Autumn's words, my mind couldn't help but be filled with suspicion. I awkwardly nodded. At this moment, Autumn's face became utterly serious. Then it's true. If I'm not mistaken, your boyfriend has designated you as the fifth person, the one to nourish the blood jade. Tomorrow, when you two hold your wedding, it will likely be the moment he makes his move against you. It seems his purpose is to use this blood jade to bargain for his own revival. My whole body trembled involuntarily. Are you saying all this is true? Autumn was about to speak, but the comment section exploded once more. What the hell, it's the middle of the night and the streamer is scaring people like this. There's no such thing as heaven and hell. It's all just scams, you know? And fortune-telling too, I think you're just trying to con people. I've lived this long and never seen a ghost or anything. There's a limit to how you scam people. We all went through 9 years of compulsory education. Who believes this stuff anymore? Exactly. My family deals in jade. That's just a normal blood jade, not some demonic thing like the streamer says. Seeing these comments, Autumn just offered a nonchalant smile, not paying them much mind. Although I didn't truly believe in ghosts or spirits, Autumn had accurately stated all of Lucius's information, which made me feel suspicious. While I was flustered and unsure what to do, Autumn casually uttered a sentence. Well, has anyone here ever seen a wedding held on the Zhongyuan Festival? The Zhongyuan Festival, also known as the Ghost Festival, falls on the 15th day of the 7th lunar month, when it's believed the gates of the underworld open. As soon as she said this, the screen went quiet for a moment, then soon after, comments flooded in again. Damn, that's right. I've never heard of anyone choosing that day to get married. True, right? Besides ghost weddings, what normal person would choose a day like that for such a big life event? Even if we're not in feudal, superstitious times, you still have to choose an auspicious day. Why choose the Zhongyuan Festival? That's just nonsense. Hearing Autumn's words, my heart instantly twisted into a knot. The wedding date was chosen by Lucius. I didn't agree at first, but he said he'd consulted a master. He claimed that because our Ba Zai, 8 characters, had too much yang energy, we absolutely had to find a day of extreme yin to get married. I stated his reason. Autumn simply gave a faint, dismissive smile. Nonsense. Let's not even talk about your Ba Zai for a moment. Even someone with extreme yang should choose an auspicious day. Who complains about having too much yang energy? Do you complain about having too much money? I frowned. So he chose this day because it's the Zhongyuan Festival when the Ghost Gate opens. This is the best time to make a deal with the underworld. Now that you've broken his blood jade and released the souls inside, he definitely won't let you off the hook. Listen to me, run. Hearing these words, my scalp went numb, but on the screen, many people still didn't believe it. It's just a coincidence. Everything you're saying is all over the internet. Stop pretending to be a god or a ghost. What else? Is the streamer intentionally scaring people? Are you going to ask for money later to help resolve things? Girl, don't fall for it. She's good at using fortune-telling tricks to swindle people. Autumn remained as nonchalant as before, ignoring the malicious comments. I've said what needed to be said. What you do now is your own business. My heart pounded relentlessly, as if trying to leap out of my throat. Although Autumn's words were clear and logical, Lucius was, after all, the man I had loved deeply for 10 years. I truly couldn't believe such a bizarre story, but I also couldn't bet my life on it. After a moment of thought, I decided to temporarily leave the house today and figure things out later. Just as I was about to stand up and leave, a knock suddenly sounded from outside the room. It was Lucius. He gently tapped on my door. "Jasmine, are you asleep yet?" I flinched, my hands trembling so much I nearly dropped my phone. Luckily, at that moment, fearing I would disturb Lucius, I had closed my bedroom door. I shakily whispered to Autumn, "What do I do? He's outside." Autumn frowned. "Is your door locked?" I shook my head. "No, it just needs a push to open." Another knock came from outside. "Jasmine, I'm coming in, okay?" I trembled like a leaf, huddling under the desk, pleading with Autumn for help. Autumn told me to raise my phone and pan it around the room. As I moved the camera to the bed, Autumn suddenly widened her eyes. "Your blanket is red. Quickly, hide under the blanket. Ghosts fear red the most, and red can also conceal your aura. He won't find you." I hastily dove under the covers, completely enveloping myself in the red blanket. The moment I tucked my feet in, the bedroom door creaked open. The door swung inward, followed by distinct footsteps entering the room. The thudding footsteps quickly reached my bed. I shivered uncontrollably under the blanket, not even daring to breathe. Suddenly, Lucius's voice came from right above my head. "Strange, why isn't she in the room?" Sure enough, he hadn't seen me. Right after that, another series of footsteps echoed in the room. "Jasmine, don't play hide-and-seek anymore. Where are you?" I clenched my teeth, not letting out a single sound. Soon after, the footsteps gradually faded, and it seemed Lucius had gone far away. I stayed under the blanket for another 10 minutes, and after confirming there was no more movement outside, I was about to poke my head out to take a breath. Just as I was about to throw off the blanket, a chilling voice suddenly sounded right next to my ear. "Heh heh, don't hide anymore. Your toes are still sticking out of the blanket." Instantly, my scalp went numb. The livestream audience also heard Lucius's voice. The comment section exploded immediately. "Damn, that's terrifying. I'm starting to get really scared. That person's voice doesn't sound normal at all. Run, he's waiting outside. How can she run? Don't overreact, it's probably just a prank between newlyweds." Autumn bit her lip and said to me, "Quickly, your tongue tip, which is of extreme yang, is the ultimate deterrent for spirits. Otherwise, you'll be..." Before Autumn could finish, I bit down on my tongue, then lifted a corner of the blanket and spat a mouthful of blood towards Lucius outside. Immediately after, I threw off the blanket and ran out of the room as fast as I could, not even stopping to put on my slippers. I ran barefoot, flying out to the front door. My hands gripped the doorknob, but strangely, no matter how much force I used to twist it, the door wouldn't budge. My heart sank. This door had been double-locked by Lucius. I heard Lucius's screams inside the room growing weaker, and I knew I didn't have much time. So, I deliberately opened a window, placed a slipper on the windowsill, and then ran upstairs to the second floor. My house had 3 floors in total. Because Lucius and I usually stayed on the first floor, the second and third floors were basically empty. Therefore, Lucius wasn't too familiar with their layout. But I couldn't just sit there and wait to die. So I hid beside the stairs on the second floor, carefully observing the situation on the first floor. Not long after, I saw Lucius emerge from the room, rubbing his eyes, with the red blanket draped over him. "Jasmine, Jasmine, what are you doing?" Lucius's tone sounded very aggrieved. "I came to discuss the wedding details for tomorrow with you. Why did you spit blood in my face? It got in my eyes, it hurts like hell." After saying this, Lucius rubbed his eyes again, then picked up the blanket slung over his shoulder and casually tossed it onto the sofa. Seeing Lucius's reaction, a feeling of doubt involuntarily arose in my heart. He wasn't scared at all. The red blanket and the blood from my tongue had no effect on him. If that was the case, he couldn't be a ghost. I had aimed my phone camera downstairs earlier, so netizens could clearly see all of Lucius's reactions. The comment section also showed skeptical comments similar to mine. "What is this? This guy seems perfectly fine." Exactly, the streamer even said ghosts fear red. He's got a red blanket draped over his shoulder without hesitation. Is this a scam? Tisk, I told you it was just newlyweds playing a prank. The streamer is still pretending to be a god or ghost. What now? Can't scam anyone anymore, right? Last time I read a news story about a streamer who scared someone, then lured the girl to northern Myanmar. Seeing the comments, a chill ran down my spine. I had also seen the news story they were talking about. That streamer used all sorts of psychological suggestions to make a female student believe there was something unclean in her house. She then ran out of the house, got into the streamer's car, and was never seen again. I didn't dare imagine what my fate would be if I had managed to open the door. I glared fiercely at Autumn, muttering angrily, "You fraud, you almost ruined my wedding with Lucius. Just you wait, I'm reporting you immediately." But to my surprise, Autumn maintained her cold smile, casually saying, If I'm not mistaken, he must have used some special sorcery to prevent his body from decaying, then used a soul to control his body. From the outside, he still looks like a normal person, but in reality, he's just a walking corpse. Let me guess, you two have never had intimate physical contact, have you? Autumn's statement stunned me once again. That's right. Lucius had always said he was traditional and didn't want to have sex before marriage. I had always admired his character, believing a responsible man like him was rare these days. But now, hearing Autumn say this and seeing my disturbed expression, Autumn casually smiled and said, "You want to ask how I know, right? He's a soulless corpse. How could he have such functions? If you still don't believe me, you can try piercing his skin to see if it bleeds." After Autumn finished speaking, the comment section started flooding with replies. No intimate contact doesn't prove anything, but it proves he has good character, doesn't it? Nonsense. Men understand men best, okay? With such a beautiful girlfriend by his side, what man could restrain himself? Exactly. Even if they don't go all the way, there would still be some passionate acts, right? I don't believe a guy in his 20s could hold back unless he wasn't human. Damn, this time we've really encountered something not human. Looking at the netizens' comments, I felt only annoyance. Lucius truly had never displayed any impulsive behavior. In fact, he didn't even like me to touch his body. It seemed very likely that something was indeed wrong with him. I really wanted to try Autumn's suggestion, but if he truly had a problem, wouldn't piercing his skin be like walking straight into a trap? I nervously watched Lucius's every move downstairs. I saw him walk to the window, pick up the slipper I had placed on the windowsill, his face showing a puzzled expression. "So, you want to run away before the wedding? Trying to act out an idle drama with me?" After saying this, Lucius took out his phone and called me. My whole body trembled. As I hesitated whether to answer, Autumn suddenly spoke up. "The gold necklace you're wearing can ward off evil spirits. If he truly has a problem, put the necklace around his neck. It might at least buy you some time to escape." I understood Autumn's words perfectly, so I answered Lucius's call. "Hello, Jasmine, where are you?" I whispered. "I'm playing hide-and-seek. Come find me." After saying this, I hung up. Lucius shook his head helplessly. "You're too old to be playing hide-and-seek. I see you. Come out now." As he spoke, Lucius turned and walked in the other direction. Taking advantage of Lucius's distraction, I quietly crept downstairs and embraced him from behind. "Hee, I'm here." The moment I hugged Lucius, he suddenly let out a loud shout, turning around with a look of surprise. "Jasmine, what are you doing?" Earlier, I had secretly hidden a brooch pin in my hand, pretending to accidentally brush it across Lucius's arm. I quickly grabbed Lucius's arm, feigning an apologetic expression. I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to. Did I hurt you?" As I touched Lucius's arm, I realized it was incredibly cold. It was July now. Even with the air conditioning on in the house, the ambient temperature wouldn't make a body this frigid. In that instant, I remembered that Lucius had always felt cold. I had never felt any warmth from him before. I struggled to control the fear in my heart. The necklace I clutched in my hand was damp with sweat. My other hand gently stroked Lucius's arm. "Ow, that hurts so much. Look, it's bleeding." Lucius grimaced at me. Indeed. I clearly saw a trail of blood on Lucius's arm, but the fear in my heart didn't lessen. It only grew stronger. My entire body involuntarily trembled. The spot I had deliberately cut was clearly on the asterisk outside of Lucius's arm, yet the blood appeared on the asterisk inside asterisk. I feigned calm, smiling at Lucius, gently stroking his arm. Then I quickly opened my hand, which was holding the necklace, and swiftly fastened the gold necklace around Lucius's neck with lightning speed. Before Lucius could react, he looked bewildered and asked me, "Jasmine, why are you putting a necklace on me?" I tightened the clasp, then forcefully pushed Lucius away and rushed up to the second floor. The moment I stepped onto the stairs, I heard Lucius's chilling voice. "It seems you've figured it out." Instantly, I was drenched in cold sweat. I scrambled to the storage room on the second floor, not daring to look back. I hid behind a painting in the storeroom. If you didn't look closely, you wouldn't find me at all. I was sure Lucius didn't know this spot. After hiding carefully, I quickly pulled out my phone. Thankfully, Autumn was still there. Everyone had witnessed the scene just now. I tremblingly asked Autumn, "Earlier, I cut the outside of his upper arm and there was no blood. What should I do now?" Autumn's expression was grim. "I saw. It's almost midnight. The ghost gate is about to open. Lucius is currently restrained by that gold necklace. He probably won't be able to break free for a short while. Plus, you broke his blood jade. His urgent task right now is to quickly repair the blood jade. For now, you're safe. Tell me your home address. I can still save you if I come over right now. So I told Autumn my address. Fortunately, she was only a half-hour drive away. To ensure my safety, Autumn didn't turn off the live stream but took her phone with her as she went outside. My whole body wouldn't stop trembling. I didn't know what else to do. Netizens in the comment section also comforted me one after another. She's so unlucky to run into a man like that. Sister, you'll definitely get through this, amen. So scary, hang in there girl, you have to persevere. Oh Allah, is it really safe to hide there? If you're discovered, it'll be too late to run. Namo Amitabha Buddha, I'm so scared, I never thought something like this would happen. Lord Taisheng Laojun, act quickly as per the decree. Seeing these messages on the screen, I only felt annoyance. Outside, Lucius's curses roared incessantly. A mere gold necklace wants to restrain me? You think I'm too simple. Ha 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 ha, Jasmine, you dare break my blood jade? Don't let me find you or I'll tear you into 100 pieces. I heard the curses growing more and more furious, my body trembling nonstop. I repeatedly asked Autumn how much longer it would take for her to arrive. Autumn kept comforting me. Suddenly, she fell silent, her face changed, and her eyes widened, staring intently at me. Her gaze made me shudder. I was about to ask her what was wrong, but she unexpectedly motioned for me to be silent. I felt something was amiss. Don't make a sound. I covered my mouth with both hands, not even daring to breathe heavily. Abruptly, Autumn shouted, "Spit blood from your tongue tip, behind your neck." In a flash, I reacted, biting into my tongue, which had just healed, and spat a mouthful of blood backward. Then I hastily pushed open the storeroom door and ran outside. The moment I ran out of the room, out of the corner of my eye, I caught a glimpse of a white shadow beside me. I tried my best to suppress the fear in my heart, dashing into a second-floor bedroom, then locking the door tightly. I slid down the door, collapsing onto the floor, gasping for breath. At this moment, the comment section practically exploded. What was that thing that just flashed by? A female ghost? Oh my god, so scary, let's go. Sorry, streamer. I retract my previous statement, this is genuinely terrifying. Panicked, I hastily asked Autumn what exactly had happened. Autumn's expression was grim. You broke the blood jade earlier, releasing the souls of Lucius's family members. Now it's the Zhongyuan Festival, the ghost gate has opened, and yin energy is at its peak. The souls are manifesting in their true forms. Earlier, Lucius used the blood connection to control his mother's soul to find your location. My whole body trembled. I quickly asked, then what do I do now? Autumn thought for a moment, then said, the blood from your tongue tip can hold her back for a while. Pan your camera around the room so I can see if there's anything useful. I had only panned the camera halfway when Autumn suddenly exclaimed excitedly, your house has Zhongyuan paper, rice paper? I nodded. I used to learn drawing when I was little, so I bought a lot of Zhongyuan paper. Autumn said excitedly, Zhongyuan paper also has the effect of warding off evil. If you've learned to draw, that's even better. Now I'll draw a talisman. You use a calligraphy brush to copy it onto the Zhongyuan paper, then stick it on the door. No evil spirit will be able to enter this room. With that, Autumn pulled out a tissue and bent her head to draw something. A moment later, she placed the finished drawing in front of the camera. I looked at the symbols, which resembled Chinese characters but weren't, and quickly picked up a calligraphy brush and Zhongyuan paper nearby, beginning to mimic her drawing. After finishing, I showed it to Autumn. Her face was very surprised, mixed with joy. You really did learn to draw, your copy is so accurate. Now, spit a mouthful of blood onto it and stick it on the bedroom door. That's it. My tongue throbbed with pain, but there was no other way. I bit my tongue again, spitting fresh blood from my mouth. Even if I could escape this ordeal, I wouldn't be able to eat peacefully for the next month. I took the Zhongyuan paper, now stained with fresh blood, and pasted it onto the door, then nervously stared at the main door. Not long after, I suddenly felt a chill. Immediately after, a strange, cackling sound echoed from outside the door. My body trembled uncontrollably. I quickly backed away until my back hit the wall and I sank to the floor. Then, I witnessed the most terrifying sight I had ever encountered in my life. Above the empty door, a pale human face suddenly appeared, its eyes bulging from their sockets, its mouth split into a wide grin reaching its ears, and a long tongue constantly darting out, emitting those bizarre cackling sounds. While I was flustered and didn't know what to do, a pale arm stretched out from the blood-soaked Zhongyuan paper. Abruptly, the ghostly face contorted, letting out a frightened shriek. The sound echoed from above my head, piercing me to the soles of my feet. I stared transfixed as it vanished into thin air. I let out a sigh of relief, patting my chest hard to calm my pounding heart. It seemed Autumn's talisman had worked. I lowered my head, tears streaming down my face from fear, looking at the screen, and asked, "Master, that thing was?" Autumn nodded faintly. Tonight's terrifying experiences, I feared, would haunt me for the rest of my life. Just as I let out a sigh of relief, the door lock suddenly rattled. Someone was twisting the doorknob. Along with the turning sound, Lucius's voice echoed from outside. "Jasmine, don't hide anymore. It's pointless now. We still have our wedding to attend today. It's time to perform the ancestral rites." Earlier, I had used the table to block the door. Lucius twisted the doorknob and pushed, but it wouldn't open. In an instant, my heart felt like it was suspended in midair. Autumn's tone also became more serious. "I can't believe he's already repaired the blood jade. It seems his spiritual power is not to be underestimated. It's very likely that talisman is useless against him." "Huh!" I shrieked in terror, staring frantically at the door outside, only hearing Lucius impatiently cursing. "Damn it, why won't this door open? Jasmine, my love, come out now. Be a good girl, don't make me catch you." After saying this, Lucius violently pounded on the door. Autumn was right. The talisman had no effect on Lucius. Autumn's voice came from the phone again. "I'll be there in 5 minutes. This door probably won't hold out that long. Run." I took a deep breath, trying to control the fear in my heart. Trembling, I grabbed the blanket from the bed, determined to escape through the window. I stood on the awning outside the window, nervously throwing the blanket down below, then deliberately screamed loudly. Lucius's actions outside the door became even more violent. "What the hell are you running for, you damn ancestor?" As soon as he finished speaking, Lucius kicked the door fiercely, and with a loud crack, the door collapsed. Meanwhile, I had walked along the awning, reached the window of the adjacent room, pushed it open, and slipped inside. But the moment I entered this room, I almost screamed out loud, because there were 3 white ghost-like figures standing upright in there. I gasped for breath for a long time, just about to turn and run away, but these 3 ghosts didn't move, showing no reaction at all. Autumn's voice came from the phone in my hand. "These 3 are not controlled by Lucius. They're temporarily not dangerous. Hurry and run." Only then did I breathe a sigh of relief, looking at the 3 ghosts, 1 male, 2 female. These must be Lucius's father and 2 older sisters. Just as I was about to open the door to leave, I heard Lucius's curses from the next room. "You jumped from such a height? Why didn't you just die from the fall? How daring!" Immediately after, a thud sounded from outside. Hearing this sound, I felt a little relieved. It seemed Lucius had fallen for the trap. Jumping from the 2nd floor was at least 7 meters. Though not fatal, it would surely injure his legs, making it difficult to run far. Lucius wasn't a living person, so he wouldn't feel pain. I feared I wouldn't run far before he caught me. My task now was to stall for time until Autumn arrived. Then everything would be over. I was about to ask Autumn how much longer she would be, when suddenly I saw a figure appear outside the window in front of me. It was Lucius. Lucius was wearing a black suit, a white shirt with a dark red bow tie, and holding a red rose in his hand. He elegantly bowed and extended his hand towards me, his mouth splitting into a wide grin, revealing sharp teeth. "Jasmine, will you marry me?" When Lucius uttered these words, the 3 white figures suddenly moved, all staring at me, and simultaneously let out a series of strange, cackling, ghostly screams. I couldn't bear this kind of stimulation any longer. I just shrieked, casually throwing the phone in my hand towards Lucius outside, then turned and dashed out of the room. The 2nd floor was no longer safe, and the main door couldn't be opened. If I tried to escape through a window, I feared Lucius would catch me before I got far. In an instant, every possible scenario flashed through my mind. Now, it seemed, going to the 3rd floor was the best option. I quickly dashed up to the 3rd floor, first locking one of the rooms tightly, then rushing into another room with an open door and hiding under the bed. A moment later, I heard the sound of leather shoes treading on the floorboards. "Jasmine, Jasmine, where are you hiding now? Don't hide anymore, aren't you tired of running around?" Lucius had found his way up. I covered my mouth with my hands, not even daring to breathe, simply straining my ears to listen to the movements outside. Lucius called my name as he pushed open the door to another room. "Jasmine, I see you. Don't hide anymore. Hee hee." I heard Lucius enter that room. He had indeed fallen for the trap. I took a deep breath, preparing to crawl out from under the bed, intending to lock him in that room. But I never expected that just as I was about to crawl out, a pair of leather shoes appeared right before my eyes. Lucius had already entered this room, but strangely, I hadn't heard a single footstep. My whole body trembled uncontrollably. I quickly retreated deeper under the bed, silently praying that Lucius wouldn't find me. But as I backed all the way to the foot of the bed, a pale, inverted face suddenly appeared before my eyes. The face was deathly pale, devoid of any color, its eyes narrowed to slits, its purple lips stretched into a grin reaching its ears, abruptly opening and closing, emitting a series of cold, emotionless sounds. "Finally found you." I could no longer remain calm. I screamed, then scrambled out from under the bed, dashing out of the room from another direction. But as I reached the door, I crashed heavily into someone, sending me reeling backward. "It's Lucius. Wasn't he behind me just now?" I was covered in cold sweat and my heart turned icy. I cautiously turned my head, and the sight before me filled me with despair. There were two identical Luciuses, one in front and one behind, surrounding me. Their expressions were grotesquely clown-like, their cracked mouths simultaneously opening. Two identical voices from front and back echoed in unison, "Where else do you want to hide?" My vision suddenly went black, my legs turned to jelly, and I felt as if I was about to collapse. I struggled to support my body, choking out, "Lucius, I beg you, please let me go, I beg you." The Lucius in front of me pulled out the repaired blood jade from his pocket, his cracked mouth grinning at me. "I've waited 5 years. Finally, I've found such a perfect body. Wouldn't it be too much of a waste to let it go?" After saying this, Lucius's eyes darted around, then he chuckled. "Not only a perfect body, but also so wealthy, tell me. Why would I give up?" Immediately after, both Luciuses simultaneously took a step forward, both emitting strange, cackling sounds, slowly advancing towards me. Just as I thought my life was over, a clear female voice suddenly called from downstairs, "Jasmine, are you there?" "Autumn is here." Hearing that voice, tears welled up in my eyes. I was saved this time. The moment Autumn called my name, both Luciuses froze as if struck, suddenly stopping in their tracks and staring at me with grotesque grins. Autumn's voice came again. "Jasmine, I've placed a restriction spell in the room. Come out quickly." So, it was Autumn who did it. I gritted my teeth and ran out of the encirclement of the two Luciuses without hesitation, rushing downstairs. The moment Autumn saw me, she asked joyfully, "Are you okay? I thought I was too late." Tears streamed down my face. Not late, just in time." Then Autumn pointed towards the front door. "I've broken open your house door. Run." Without hesitation, I fled this terrifying mansion. But having just gone through a series of terrifying events, my legs trembled nonstop, and I couldn't run fast. Not long after, Autumn caught up. Autumn pointed in one direction and said, "My car is parked over there. Get in quickly." I nodded, gritting my teeth and running in that direction. The terrifying night was finally coming to an end. I didn't know how long I had been running when Autumn suddenly stopped in front of me. I, running behind, also quickly stopped. I gasped for breath and asked Autumn, "Why? Why did you stop? Are we safe?" Autumn slowly turned around, staring into my eyes. Suddenly, the corner of her mouth curved slightly. "Of course you're safe." Hearing these words, in an instant I felt the blood in my veins turn to ice. This voice was clearly Lucius's voice. I trembled like a leaf, my eyes fixed on Autumn in front of me. She just smiled, pouting her lips to signal behind my back. I shakily turned around and saw Lucius, dressed in a black suit like a clown, appear behind me. What is going on? Don't you understand yet?" It was Autumn's voice. "Lucius you love most isn't a ghost at all. He's a real, living human." I stared blankly at Lucius. I saw him shake his arm, which still bore the bloodstain, and smile brightly at me. "My dear Jasmine, you have quite a vicious hand. I even put on a fake layer of skin, and you still managed to leave such a deep cut." My mind went blank, but a few minutes later, I finally processed his words. You're all in this together. Finally understood, have you?" Autumn chuckled softly. I closed my eyes, took a deep breath. "So, you are the ghost, and Lucius's goal is to help you revive, right? You've become quite clever." The coldness on Autumn's face suddenly distorted, transforming into a pale white face, and her entire body gradually became translucent. I despairingly bowed my head. I should have realized this sooner. When she carelessly blurted out that the ghost next to me was Lucius's mother, that's when I should have realized she and Lucius knew each other. At that moment, I realized I had made a slip of the tongue. "Unfortunately, you were only focused on escaping and didn't notice the problem." Autumn looked smug. "So Lucius always knew my location because you revealed it to him, right?" Autumn nodded. "That's right. I just didn't expect you to throw your phone away at the last minute." Left with no choice, Lucius had to use his astral projection to search for you in both rooms. This also consumed a lot of his spiritual power. I let out a heavy sigh. Let me guess, Lucius's family was also murdered by you two, planned together, right? Autumn said smugly. Of course. Ever since we killed his entire family, we've been searching for a suitable body. Finally, after all these years, we found one. It truly wasn't a waste of effort. Why do this? What is the purpose behind all your actions? Because Autumn is about to become an immortal? Lucius's voice suddenly rang out. Since things have come to this, I'll let you die with a clear understanding. Autumn has actually cultivated for several hundred years, but in the final step to becoming an immortal, an unforeseen problem arose. Since I was a child, I secretly followed Autumn to cultivate. Once she attains enlightenment and becomes an immortal, I, too, can achieve immortality. Tell me, how could I give up at such a crucial moment? So you're willing to kill your closest family for immortality? I glared coldly at Lucius. Lucius snorted, showing disdain. No ruthlessness, no man. That's immortality, a celestial art that even Qin Shi Huang couldn't acquire. I have this opportunity in this lifetime, how could I miss it? Originally, I wanted to complete this plan at home, but unexpectedly, there was a restriction spell under the ground of your villa, preventing any formation from being used, so soul transference wasn't possible. Only this place can set up the formation. And you, being naturally suspicious, if I had outright called you to this place, you definitely wouldn't have come. Left with no choice, Autumn and I devised this plan for her to gain your trust, then lure you here. Master, you really are something. You planned the scheme, fine, but why did you control me? You didn't even lift the control, making me use a lot of spiritual power to break free. Hearing this, Autumn frowned. What are you talking about? I didn't control you. Of course you didn't, because the one controlling him is me. Hearing my words, both Lucius's and Autumn's expressions changed. They stared at me with tension. After understanding everything clearly, I could finally remove all my external disguises, looking coldly at the two bewildered figures in front of me. Autumn, earlier you kept telling me to spit blood from my tongue tip. That was to deplete my yang energy, so you could reduce the difficulty for your soul to enter my body, right? But did you ever think about why I threw my phone away at the most crucial moment? Autumn's frown deepened, her eyes glaring ferociously at me. I scoffed. Of course, it was to deplete Lucius's spiritual power. You are a mere spirit, you pose no threat to me. Only Lucius has some ability, but after astral projection and breaking the restriction array, I'm sure he doesn't have much spiritual power left, does he? Moreover, I've already sealed his meridians, so even if he wanted to draw a formation, he wouldn't have the ability to do so. Lucius's face changed color. He hastily tried to mobilize the spiritual power in his body, but for a long time there was no reaction. I smirked, gesturing towards his arm. Now do you understand why I used force to make that cut? Who exactly are you? Why, after all these years, have I never noticed anything wrong with you? Lucius unconsciously retreated. I smiled and said, ever since I discovered that blood jade of yours, I was sure something was wrong with you, but for all these years, I never knew what your true purpose was. Now, everything has come to an end. In fact, you should have realized it sooner. Otherwise, who do you think put the restriction spell in the villa? Fear showed on Lucius's face. I looked at him coldly, then pointed towards Autumn. Where do you think her immortality came from? Every 50 years, she tricks a fool like you to help her prolong her life. Attain enlightenment and become an immortal? Ha ha ha, do you really believe such nonsense? Once you help her complete the soul-swapping ritual, she'll silence you immediately. From then on, there will be no one named Lucius in this world. Am I right, Autumn? No, I should call you an old ghost hag. Hearing my words, Autumn's face froze, her eyes looking at me in a panic. Who exactly are you? Someone who came to kill you. As soon as I finished speaking, a series of eerie, ghostly laughs echoed around us. The blood jade in Lucius's hand suddenly shattered. In an instant, the 4 souls inside surrounded him. I only heard his tragic scream before he was devoured alive by his own family. Autumn stared in horror at the scene before her. What just happened? I chuckled softly, reaching into my pocket and pulling out a piece of Zhongyuan paper. Here, the talisman you taught me to draw, I just made a few small changes. The talisman Autumn originally taught me to draw was one to trap spirits. I drew it to increase the spiritual power of spirits. Lucius thought he could control those 4 souls. In reality, those souls have been out of his control for a long time. I took slow steps towards Autumn. I originally came here for the blood jade, but unexpectedly, I stumbled upon you. After all these years, it's time for you to return to where you belong. As I finished speaking, a cold gust of wind suddenly swirled where she stood, and a gigantic stone gate appeared before us. This was the ghost gate. Autumn's body shriveled, no longer retaining her human form. Two figures, one white and one black, slowly approached. I stepped forward, exhaling, and said to Autumn, "You never thought why only this place could have a formation, did you?" A place where the ghost gate exists, where yin energy is at its peak, isn't that the perfect place to set up a formation? The black and white guards of impermanence arrived, seizing Autumn. Following that was a series of tragic, wailing, ghostly cries. The stone gate slowly closed until it gradually vanished from sight. On the ground, only Lucius's empty corpse remained. I let out a soft sigh. This incident was finally over. I picked up the blood jade from the ground, gently wiping away the dust. Tusk, tusk, such a beautiful thing, why must it be used to harm people? I was about to put the blood jade into my pocket when suddenly the jade stirred. Could there be another spirit nearby? Oh, right, today is the Zhongyuan Festival. Near the ghost gate, of course there would be spirits. It's cold.